Oklahoma is 50th in education, by the way, which is awesome. They're looking at numbers on the board and they're going, we got to get dumber. Oklahoma is a testing ground for some of the stupidest initiatives that have come out of this goddamn country. Here is another amazing example. Oklahoma Education Superintendent Ryan Walters is rolling out a new 50-question America First certification exam developed with PragerU for teachers moving to the state from California and New York. Applicants must score 100% on questions that will cover conservative-aligned topics such as religion and biological differences between males and females. Walters has suggested the requirement could later be extended to teachers from other liberal states. Critics, including teachers' unions, call it a political stunt that will deter educators from coming to Oklahoma while it is already grappling with a teacher shortage despite offering bonuses up to $50,000. The move follows other Walters initiatives such as ordering Bibles in every classroom. Who could forget that one? That was amazing. Changing how the 2020 election is taught to align with Trump's false claims of widespread fraud. This is the reason why I laugh when motherfuckers are like, Hasan, you're a terrorist. Hasan, you hate America. If I was a terrorist who hated America, I would be a Republican. Okay? I know it comes across as difficult. It comes across as a difficult to swallow pill for you. But there is no greater terrorist that hates America than the Bible thumping, American flag draping, dipshit, quote unquote, MAGA loyalists. Okay? These guys make Osama bin Laden look like he's playing in the fucking high school league. Okay? It is so ridiculous. They are actively undermining America and every facet of what it means to be American. Every institution is crippled, and dumb fucks still think I'm the one who's anti-America. There is no greater threat to America than the Republican Party. Okay? And Democrats and their inability to address these issues also presents a grave threat to America as well. But goddamn, are these guys doing their very best. It's so dumb. They didn't even teach in schools of the U.S. government, and Oklahoma law enforcement stormtroopers firebombed their own black citizens from airplanes in Tulsa in 1921 until recently in that state. Not sure I would trust anyone there with anything education related. I'm telling you, dude. There is no greater threat to America and Americans than the Republican Party. That's it.
If you're from California or New York applying to teach in Oklahoma, you might have to answer this question. Why is freedom of religion important to America's identity? A, because it makes Christianity the national religion. B, because it bans all forms of public worship. C, because it limits religious teaching in public life. Or D, because it protects religious choice from government control. Ryan Walters announced over the summer plans to introduce a new qualification test specifically aimed at teachers applying to teach in the state from New York and California. Walters said the test will focus on questions about U.S. civics, such as the Constitution and the makeup of Congress, as well as gender and the biological differences between the two genders. When we asked Walters why he singled out California and New York for this requirement, he said that those two states in particular have teaching standards antithetical to Oklahoma's. He singled out the way they teach ideas about gender and race. The Oklahoma Education Association has said that this is a political stunt and that it could run the risk of turning away quality teachers from wanting to teach in the state.
This is such a cool story. In Oklahoma, if you want...
Yeah, we're owning the libtards by making sure no teacher that actually wants to educate the children of Oklahoma ever come down to the state. It's like, what the fuck are we doing, man? It's the lowest rated state for education, and this is the kind of dumb shit that they're busying themselves with. What are we doing? Wake up! It's so goddamn stupid, man. I can't believe it. I can't believe how dumb these motherfuckers are. Fuck.
To move to Oklahoma and you want to be a teacher, you're going to have to take this test because the superintendent of education for the entire state is super conservative.
Yeah, everything is trolling. We're just trolling people. We're trolling them. Ha ha. It's great. We're owning the libtards. It's fucking awesome.
He's trying to protect the kids and trying to root out radical leftist ideology. The test is basically your knowledge of history for America, but the left is so upset about this.
So before we actually read you the test, let's talk about
the knowledge of American history that requires you to fucking answer a question like about trans people existing in society, which they do, by the way.
Actually, what the left is saying about this. This is what the American Federation of Teachers Union, Randy Weingarter, who's a complete leftist, this is what she said. This MAGA loyalty test will be yet another turnoff for teachers in a state already struggling with a huge shortage. The state representative, John Waldron of Oklahoma, he's also the Democratic Party chair, said, if you want to see a textbook definition.
So much winning, dude. This is so sick. So sick. I love that. Why do you need school? You can just watch PragerU videos, dude. Fucking awesome.
Of indoctrination.
Yeah, if you want to see the sample stories, they got them here.
Test for teachers. It's a sad echo of a more paranoid past.
Right. So they want to find out what teachers are coming to Oklahoma and are going to be teaching their kids, especially if they come from New York or California. So they have some very basic questions. Why people think this is ideological, I don't get. Here's one of them. What are the first three words of the Constitution? In God we trust, life, liberty, and happiness, the United States, or we the people.
Or Life, Liberty, and Levin. Right,
which is a very successful show. I think it's been changed. Right. I think Jefferson eventually changed it.
The answer, obviously, we the people.
Why is freedom of religion important to America's identity?
Why is freedom of religion important to America's identity?
A, it becomes Christianity, the national religion.
He's like, yeah, that would be good.
Bans all forms of public worship. Or C, it limits religious teaching in public life. Or D, it protects religious choice from government control. So,
D.
You would hope that people would circle D.
I mean, but this is also a factual test. You can have your political views about it, but what does the Constitution state is giving a question and answer, and the answer is clearly accurate. Why they're hyper-ventilating about this, I don't understand.
This is the same state they're trying to put Bibles in classrooms. And this superintendent, we have to read more.
It's insane that they have the second question. They enforce the Bibles in public schools. Yeah, the same guy that put this test out is the guy that made it so that every fucking Oklahoma classroom has to get Bibles. They're so dumb.
More about him. His name is Ryan Walters. I bet Donald Trump will say something about him because this is a bold move. Right. But good for him.
I think it's getting us back to the basics, and these schools are out of control. The kids can't even read. Something is going wrong. Math and reading scores are at all-time low. Got to get back to the foundation.
Can I just read quickly what Ryan Walters said? As long as I'm superintendent of Oklahoma, classrooms will be safeguarded from the radical leftist ideology fostered in places like California and New York. Any teacher coming from these states will be required.
Let's look at some of the other questions. What are the two parts of the U.S. Congress? House of Lords and Commons, courts and Senate, executive and legislative, Senate and House of Representatives. How many senators are there? 435. Yeah, when I'm done with it, that's how many senators are going to be there, okay? Yeah, leave it up to me. Why do some states have more representatives than others? They cover a larger... Okay, so some of these questions are really just stupid. This is just like... this is just dumb. This is just like super basic shit. I assume this is what they have in like the citizenship test. You know what I mean? Oh my God, every answer is D. Representation is determined by population size. Oh, wait, what? Wait, why is every answer D? Oh my God, I just realized. No way. There ain't no way that they designed this and it's just all the answers are deliberately D. Did they just not scramble the results? What the? Maybe that's just how they do it. Oh, Jesus Christ. This 5-question preview is just a small portion of the assessment, which officials say covers American history, civics, and constitutional principles. The entire thing has not yet been released. Supporters argue the requirement will ensure teachers entering Oklahoma classrooms are aligned with what Walters calls traditional American values. Critics, however, have described this move as politically motivated loyalty test to screen out educators based on ideology rather than ability. Yeah, this is the funny thing is that, like, the conservatives were like, oh, we can't do DEI. We don't want DEI. And now it's like, oh, no, you actually literally don't want people who have different opinions than you. You just don't want people. The entire time, lo and behold, what they were screaming about was a bastardization of what DEI actually is, which, but they just wanted it to work in the direction of fail-son conservatives. This is worse than what they accused the USSR of doing or China. Oh, for sure. For sure.
To pass our new PragerU assessment before receiving certification because we refuse to let Gavin Newsom's woke Marxist agenda turn Oklahoma into the same dumpster fire California has become.
This is all related to an earlier segment we had.
Wait, this is the guy? He pushed book bans and religion in schools. Now he's accused of screening explicit images at work. Oklahoma schools chief Ryan Walters, once a candidate on President Donald Trump's short list for education secretary, is now facing a GOP-backed probe. After a public backlash for pushing Bibles endorsed by President Donald Trump on Oklahoma students, State Superintendent of Public Instruction Ryan Walters is now mired in a scandal for an entirely different reason. Images of nude women on his office television. Oh my Lord. It is... oh my God. He was gooning! He was fucking gooning! Oh! He's a gooner! Get him out! Why? Why? How? Every time. These guys are weird sex freaks. How is that possible? How is it every single time? You got a motherfucker. The harder they thump the Bible, the harder they crank their fucking penis. The harder they jork their penis in public, in a school. What the fuck? Oh my God. Two members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education are accusing Walters, who was on Trump's short list of education secretary candidates last year, on screening graphic images on a television connected to his computer Thursday during a closed-door meeting focused on teaching credentials and student attendance. Now the state's Republican leaders, oh my God, he was cranking it, and then he fucking opened up his laptop and connected to the TV without realizing that the last thing he was looking at was porn-a-rooney. Oh my God. Bro, we need to bring back shame, dog. We need to bring back shame. MAGA Superintendent Ryan Walters hits out at porn claims. Oklahoma to require parents to provide immigration status for students. Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters is hit back after colleagues alleged they saw images of nude women on TV. Walters, a Republican, issued a statement on X Sunday denying these claims. An investigation into the matter is reported to be underway. Why it matters. Walters spoken out against showing what he deems to be pornography in schools, and he has pushed to remove books he say contain sexual content, including Khalid Hosseini's The Kite Runner. The Kite Runner? Okay, what about the Bible? You put a book that has stories in it that are definitely not appropriate for children to fucking read and consume in every classroom in Oklahoma. Every single one. He also made headlines for his endorsements of pro-religious policies in Oklahoma public schools, including putting Bibles that mimic the God Bless the USA Bibles endorsed by President Donald Trump. Two board members who attended the executive session of the Oklahoma State Board of Education on July 24th, chaired by Walters, told the Oklahoman that images of naked women were displayed on a TV screen. The allegations came from Ryan Detharj of Kingfisher and Becky Carson of Edmond, who described the ordeal as really bizarre. Newspaper reported that it was not clear who was responsible for the alleged images, that Detharj, I don't know how to say his last name, said Walters was sitting with his back to the TV screen, so it wasn't in Walters' direct view. The superintendent allegedly turned off the TV after Carson alerted him to the matter. On X, Walters said the claims were politically motivated attacks, and he's leading the charge for a bold overhaul of education in the state. Any suggestion that the device of mine was used to stream inappropriate content on the television set is categorically false, he wrote, adding that there was absolutely no truth to the allegations. Earlier in a statement to the Oklahoman, Quentin Hitchcock, a spokesperson for Walters, described this story as junk tabloid lie. Any number of people have access to these offices. You have a hostile board who will say and do anything except tell the truth now. And the Wokelahoman is reporting on an alleged... Okay, that's bars. Calling the Oklahoman the Woklahoman. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We are run by baboons, bro. We literally have the dumbest motherfuckers in charge. I have so much hatred in my heart for these people. Oh my God. I can't get over it. Oh my God. This is so annoying. Oh my God.
Appreciate you.
He did an interview sitting next to the TV where he claimed the TV was unable to connect to the devices other than cable, but refused to let cameras pan to show the TV.
Talking to us about this, it must have been a wild few days for you. I would love to hear what went down. Walk us through what happened during that executive session.
Sure. I mean, what we've seen here.
Like, this is beyond politics, dude. Even if you're a Republican, you shouldn't want a guy like this in charge. Like, how? I'm sorry. And it's not even because he was watching porn on his fucking laptop before doing a meeting, okay? That's not even it. He's just like a dumb guy. He is actively fucking up education. As a part of his job, he is fucking up education in the state that has the worst educational outcomes, man. Why the fuck are the dumb fuck Republicans living in Oklahoma going, that's my guy. That's the guy I want. We need worse results. Are you that stupid? Do you think like higher number, better education? You're like, what do you mean? We're basically number one in the country for the worst education, which means it's the best education. It wasn't just this one time. Pretty graphic. Oklahoma lawmaker confirms Ryan Walters sent him pornographic images. What? What? Oh my God!
Is the grossest lies and political attack that the state's ever seen. We have a cable TV box back there. And we have got a gross accusation that's already been proven by OMS and the sheriff's office to be impossible to have happened. There's no devices connected to that cable TV. It is a cable TV set. We've got board members that are lying and crucifying my character to stop the work we're doing here for Oklahomans. And I will not tolerate these lies, the character assassination. My family has had to hear this nonsense for 4 days of something that is demonstrably false because board members with Governor Stitt decided to tell a lie and spin a narrative that is impossible to be true. So what we're seeing is a political attack to assassinate my character because they're trying to stop the will of Oklahomans to bring education reform. And I'm just absolutely not going to tolerate it.
Sounds like you're looping Governor Stitt in with this. It's a pretty strong accusation.
It's his board. It's his board members that concocted a lie. It is his board members that decided to try to disrupt a board meeting. And when that didn't work, they went to the most salacious lie they could come up with and to accuse me of something that is impossible to have happened, that did not happen, that is now provable by 2 independent investigations.
They haven't released any results of investigations.
And they will be.
But you're saying this is what
they've already been here. We've already done it.
You've talked to them.
We've already
Both
done it.
agencies.
It is impossible.
Guilty. Bro, this is this is the guiltiest motherfucker in Oklahoma. This is the guiltiest dude in Oklahoma. I've never seen someone as guilty as this man. This is crazy. Turns out he did it already before. Some Oklahoma lawmakers say State Superintendent Ryan Walters emailed them pornographic material claiming this was what was available in our schools. The State Department of Education said they supplied them with what they requested. McBride tells Fox 25 it was pretty graphic, but he wants Walters to share where he found those pictures. Don't just send me a bunch of graphic, sexually explicit photos without where it came from or what did they do. That's kind of the problem I got with it, Rep. McBride said. This is, you know what this reminds me of? That famous QAnon psycho, Dom Lucre, when he posted an image of CSAM that he had literally watermarked, that he posted on Twitter. That image is so illegal to have that people have gone to prison for having it in their hard drives. Dom Lucre, on the other hand, literally took a screenshot of the image and watermarked it and posted it on Twitter. And Elon Musk, instead of immediately floating this problem to the authorities to say, hey, this prominent feature, this prominent right-wing psychopath is posting CSAM, the most notorious CSAM. Instead of that, he literally unbanned him. And that guy now goes on the White House press pool and shit. That's the stage that we're in right now. People do not understand how fucking insane this is. CSAM is child sexual abuse material, formerly known as CP. But child pornography is like a gross designation of an already horrifying thing. Child sexual abuse material is the way to refer, the correct way to refer to child pornography, because pornography is created by consenting adults. Interviewer asked a fair question. He threw Governor Sitt under the bus despite him having endorsed Walters.
Seen transpire over the last 5 days is the nastiest, biggest lie ever lodged at an official in Oklahoma. I cannot begin to describe the disgusting nature.
Bro, this guy is a gooner. I can tell, dude. He just has gooner vibes to him. Also, on top of that, I can tell from what he's done thus far. I mean, it's like, come on. How many times does he have to get caught? He is a big, he's got the gooner eyes, dude. The 1,000-yard stare of a man who has consumed far too much naughty America pornographic material.
Of the lies leveled against me by board members, by the media, and by the teachers union. This has been a coordinated attack to crucify my character and to try to stop the will of Oklahomans and their vision for education in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, they hate me because I'm too good at combating the woke. Even the Republicans are scared of my smoke that I have for the woke. Sick.
These board members have a lot to answer for, and so does the governor of the state of Oklahoma.
Or maybe you're just a freak.
And it's absolutely outrageous that people that are supposed to be working for the state of Oklahoma for our kids would peddle that kind of lie to try to disrupt the actions that the people of Oklahoma demanded.
I would love to see this
again, bro. This guy can't stop himself. Jerkmate. The ad is so much louder than the video. As soon as you click on the tab, the ad starts and it's literally 700x volume, and you're like, stop jacking off by yourself. Go on, jerkmate. Are you jerking off alone? Stupid idiot.
This was in Ryan Walters' private office. He says it was a TV connected only to a cable box. This is not like an internet type situation.
He's so mad. He's so mad. You know why he's mad, though? It's not because this is all of a sudden turned into a contentious interview, even though she's asking like a pretty basic question. He's mad because this is taking away from his jerk off time. He's like, come on now. Brazzers needs me. I'm its strongest soldier. Every moment I'm taking away. Doing this goddamn interview with the Woklahoman is a moment I could be gooning. Classic.
Is that what I'm hearing?
So,
I think he's covered in great detail.
I just want to make sure I have it right. But we're unable to see that.
Wendy, I've told you, this is an outrageous lie. The media has run with lies from board members with a political agenda that is now proven to be false by both two independent groups. This is outrageous, and we should be asking what the governor's involvement was. Does he stand by board members that have peddled the worst lie and scandal?
Why does my phone ringtone keep coming out? I hate it.
In Oklahoma, and we will continue to push back against any kind of lie, any kind of attack on the people of Oklahoma.
But you won't show us the screen.
I just told you, it's a TV, Wendy. It is a TV set.
We'd like to see it, so that's disappointing. But I can't think of any other questions. This certainly adds so much more light to something that's been so murky. So we really appreciate that. Is there anything?
Here, the journalist, if she was a real one, she would have been like, Gooner says what? Or started off the conversation by being like, so MILF or cuck porn? What's your favorite? You know, shit like that. Really throw some curveballs at him, have him confuse him because he's a fucking real ass.
Else that you want us to know? Sounds like you're looking forward to these agencies clearing your name and then perhaps seeing who else might have done some wrongdoing here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, we're going to absolutely hold individuals accountable for these outrageous lies that they peddled and the accusations that they made that they knew were false, that they have continued to peddle. And also, look, the media needs to take a real hard look, too, at this. People ran with headlines. People ran with salacious lies that were provably false. And there's going to be a lot of consequences for this.
Yeah, right. Hopefully to you. Anyway, on the other side of the aisle, this is a previous story from this guy, this fucking freakazoid. Apparently, from a couple years prior to this incident, he was in a little bit of trouble from Fox 25 again for sending pornographic images to lawmakers to be like, this is what's in the schools. And then he literally didn't even actually clarify where it came from and what the images actually were. Yeah. He was sending a Google Drive called My Goon Stash. On the other side of the aisle, State Representative Andy Fugate wonders why Walters would send this type of content. Human Resources tell you never to send something of sexual nature of any kind by email to other employees outside of your own company. It doesn't matter, Rep. Fugate said. From my perspective, it also calls into question his leadership abilities. Ryan Walters chose to be there, Fugate said, but he wasn't able to speak to legislators who have very serious concerns about what's happening in the State Department of Education and the complete lack of leadership. I'm going to be honest, dude. It's just like, is there anything we can do about this stuff? Like, these guys do not have the capacity to feel shame. You know? Is this a journalist just reading stuff on the internet? Are you talking about me? What am I supposed to do? Read you like the fucking newspaper? Get the physical copy? What are you, stuck in 1948 or something? What are you talking about? Yes, bro. In the age of the internet, that's what we do. That's where the information is being disseminated.
Is the nastiest political attack we've seen on an Oklahoma official. These are lies by board members, by a corrupt news media, and perpetuated by the teachers union to try to stop the will of Oklahoma voters and the Oklahoma parents. What we are going to continue to do is move this education reform for the families of Oklahoma. I will not stop. I will not back down to these lies by board members and others. These board members should resign immediately in disgrace over the lies that they have pushed about me to try to destroy my character. My family's had to read these headlines that are simply not true. This is why people don't trust the news media. So many lies that they have run.
It's fake news. It's fake news. It's made up. Classic. It could just hit you in the fucking face like an email from Ryan Walters that has sexually explicit imagery in it, and you can still get away with it by saying, it's fake news. I was not gooning. Oh, we gotta, dude, mods, we gotta nerf, okay? Fake news meta, 2 OP, we must nerf. It's crazy. Fake news, woke, gay, boom, is done. You hit that triple beam and you can get away with whatever the fuck you want, okay? There's also more PragerU news and information, which is incredible. On the one hand, PragerU is not exactly like a successful media operation by any means. On the other hand, it's become unimaginably successful under the Trump administration. Initiatives by Ryan Walters and many others around the country have made PragerU a substitute for educational materials. It's not even a fucking joke, including what we just talked about, like the anti-woke initiative thing that Ryan Walters implemented for teachers coming in from states like California, California, or New York. Okay? That was written by PragerU. PragerU is also, PragerU has his fingers in every orifice of information, seemingly. Let's take a look.
PragerU is the most insidious outfit advancing the right's online agenda, and that's saying something. Its 5-minute videos, which have collected nearly 5 billion views, couch typical Republican dog whistles and outright misinformation with titles like The Myth of Voter Suppression. They serve as a gateway to the more overt right-wing content pushed by the likes of Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. PragerU pushes its videos into schools. Over 6,000 teachers and parents have signed up so far. And social media's algorithms amplify all this misinformation. When PragerU's videos are assigned by teachers for students to watch at home, more right-wing content comes up for kids on social media and YouTube. And it's spreading around the world. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu even used one of PragerU's videos to...
Israel Defense Forces is the world's most moral army. Watch via PragerU.
Justify the actions of the Israeli military. Backed by fracking billionaires Dan and Paris Wilkes and other right-wing...
Same guys that back Daily Wire too, by the way. Again.
Billionaires. PragerU deploys a $25 million a year budget with ads targeting young people with right-wing propaganda. Schools, the internet, and now even far-right leaders abroad. This organization is advancing its right-wing ideology everywhere. So the next time you see these videos, know the truth about who's really behind them.
Yep. Here it is also. This is about the Smithsonian Museum because it's too woke. Here's Lindsay Halligan, special assistant to the president, on Fox News, talking about the Smithsonian Museum being too woke.
So, like just about every other country in the world, the United States has got a checkered past. I mean, what should we do in terms of our museum? Should we ignore that? Should that be massaged in a certain way to make it less significant? I mean, some of the worst episodes in our history were formative experiences that led us to where we are today, and those typically are reflected in museums.
Yep, I think the fact that we had our country was involved in slavery as
slavery, I don't know. I'm just here to collect a paycheck. Like, look.
Yep, I think the fact that we had our country was involved in slavery is awful. No one thinks otherwise. But what I saw when I was going through the museums personally was an overemphasis on slavery, and I think there should be more of an overemphasis.
We're so cooked.
On how
like, this person is making decisions. She can't even put her fucking clothes on in the morning without supervision. And you're over here talking about how, like, we need to change the way that we educate people. There's too much focus on slavery.
We've come since slavery. Our country is a country of progress, and it's the greatest country in the world. And we should be able to take our kids, our students through the Smithsonian and feel proud when we leave. There's a lot of history to our country, both positive and negative, but we need to keep moving forward. We can't just keep focusing on the negative. All it does is divide us, and we really need to unite the country and focus on all the positive as we approach America's 250th birthday.
All right. Well,
oh, it's so bad, bro. Here's more. Here's more.
So what specifically, Lindsay, is going on at the Smithsonian that's got the president's back up here?
Well, I think it's common knowledge that our education system in general has been just indoctrinated.
Dude, I cannot believe that shit that initially started off as like right-wing gripes. Shit that initially started off as like right-wing gripes. Oh man, you know, things that like Christopher Rufo was trying to argue about in the Manhattan Institute, which is a right-wing think tank, are now official government policy. Oh, America's history hurts my white feelings, so we should change it. Everything here is so ridiculous. Like, every aspect of this conversation is insane, dude. It's just a part of American history. What do you mean? The way that we are presenting it is already fairly whitewashed, okay? These institutions already have like a shield to preserve white people's feelings around these kinds of issues anyway. She literally said there's an overemphasis of slavery at the National Museum of African American History. Like, what the fuck? How did they get here, man? What do you mean? Like, that's profoundly important. That's it.
With political ideology and various ideological narratives. And the Smithsonian is really a version of education. It could be the foundation of our American education. And so I don't know if you, when you were young, you went to the Smithsonian museums as a kid on a class trip, but I did. And the Smithsonian is really supposed to be a trust instrument. And what's happened is it's become more of a platform upon which the curators and leadership at the Smithsonian can push ideological narratives. And we really want to help the Smithsonian be the gem, as you described, that it is, and represent our nation properly and truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, that... Oh, God. Oh, God. Here's Michael's. This was, like, unimaginably racist a couple days ago. I didn't even cover it. People who speak like this should not be getting platformed on fucking CNN, man. What the hell? Like, you know, this is not spirited discourse at this point. And Abby Phillips is like, Abby Phillips is black. She's the host of the show. This conversation was so insane, dude.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact.
What the fuck? Wait. Well, who was like, what? Is she doing the Jews did the transatlantic slave trade thing or something? Like, what is she trying to say? Hold up. What do you mean? If we're talking about the transatlantic slave trade specifically as a formative part of American history, yeah, it was the white people. Like, what? Like, overwhelmingly, by and large, it's an American museum talking about African American history. Yeah, they're going to talk about Americans who did slavery. Hasan, please just stop. You sound stupid. Yes, you are right. I am the one who sounds stupid here.
and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you look at
States.
let's talk about the fact.
Slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You know,
I can't believe we got Richie Torres coming in hot here. That's like such an objectively insane statement to make. What do you mean less than 2% of white people? Okay. No, she says black people also had slaves. Oh my God. Insane.
Owned slaves.
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to try to end slavery?
What is it?
Slavery is 1,000 years old. Okay. And America's the first country to end slavery. Not correct. So much so that the tiny sliver of people that own slaves literally fought to preserve that that system. So that's the reason why there was a war fought to end that system. Okay. Other countries were like, yeah, we should move away from this. America was like, nope. So much so that there's an entire fucking now woke national holiday called Juneteenth where slavers literally escaped to Texas and we're just like, let's just keep it going. Maybe they won't notice. There is a separate holiday, separate now national holiday for the additional liberation of slaves that took place after the abolition of slavery in this goddamn country.
Thousands of years old.
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to try to end slavery?
The first race to try to end slavery. Yeah, I know her ass is not talking about the fucking good Reverend John Brown, okay? I know she's not talking about that shit.
Okay. Well, what's controversial?
This is such a Trumpian thing, too, to be like, white people preserved it, maintained it, and they enslaved black people. It is different from other forms of slavery because of how unimaginably cruel the practices were and how it was defined by a genetic, the ancestry, the notion that black people were inferior and not human and simply cattle. The practices were so ruthless and the people actively defended it and fought and died to continue the maintenance of this system. And in 2025, you still have people going, well, white people ended slavery. That is crazy, man. She's taking credit for all white people right now. That's kind of epic. Yeah, we started it, but we also tried to end it is a hilarious fucking thing to say. That's why I said it's a Trump route. Yeah, I broke it, but I could continue breaking it, but here I am, no longer breaking it. Shouldn't you actually appreciate me for that? Israel could do a much worse version of the genocide that it's currently doing if it wanted to. Shouldn't you praise Israel for not doing an even worse version of the genocide that it's doing? Is always the same shit.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
Yeah, it's like, hey, excuse me, how about you offer some praise to the good man Adolf Hitler? After all, he was responsible for killing Adolf Hitler. That's the type of fucking argument she's making here, okay? It's crazy. What do you mean? The fuck is this? What are we doing? This is on CNN, bro. This is not Fox News. I feel like a decade ago, this would be the outlier on a Fox News panel. And even would have other Fox News hosts be like, okay, maybe that's a bridge too far. You're saying the quiet part out loud. We're not supposed to say that.
What I'm trying to tell you is
that in the context of American history, in the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, Every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of... Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the gay flag?
And then she moves on to the first thing you see is the gay flag. Isn't this the fitness lady? I don't know what the fuck her deal is. She just seems like a ginormous racist. Kind of like yesterday's skinny talk lady. She looks like she would hate Obama.
Incorrect.
She has the look of a white lady who would just hate Obama. And I'm not talking about like decent reasons to criticize Barack Obama, like extrajudicial killings of people by drone strike. I'm talking the bad reasons to hate Obama. You know what I mean? Jillian Michaels would do better for the world if she just continued giving people 2000 style body dysmorphia and forcing them to do caffeine pills. She got famous for being a trainer on the reality TV show The Biggest Loser. Ugh. She's been on a right-wing grift for a while, but they just released a Netflix doc about how awful she is, and now she's leaning into the grift extra hard. She's literally gay? Wait, what? You're like, I hate the pride flag. Just read in the Free Press. Oh, there you go. That's enough for me. I don't need to read the rest of it. When someone says, just read this in the Free Press, I'm like, yeah, you're done. I'm not interested. It's like saying, I just watched a PragerU video that was enlightening. No, it wasn't. You're a fucking moron. She has a black daughter? Jillian Michaels talking crazy on CNN while being the mother to a black daughter is rich but not surprising. There's a lot more that could be said, but God help the child.
What happened to your face, man? Look at my kid's face. See the scar like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. What the hell's going on at this school?
A kid hit him. Another kid hit him.
As though I don't have enough going on.
Dude, why do racists do this all the... It's so weird, bro. This is as common as like white ladies claiming indigenous ancestry. White people love being racist fucking monsters while simultaneously adopting black children. I don't know what it is. I just don't understand like where it comes from in their brain. It's the same shit. It's like, dude, Michael Penis has an adopted black son. Did you got when I found out it blew my fucking mind. It was she who told me about it. Remember? Mike Johnson has an adopted black son. Laura Ingraham has adopted children from like El Salvador. Laura Ingraham. Fucking Sig Heiling every night at Fox News doing the Ingraham angle, okay? The angles, when you look at it, the swastika. She has adopted children from like Guatemala and El Salvador. It's very strange. It's a very strange thing. I don't understand it. They're like, I'm so racist, I want to fuck up the life and existence of like a literal black person or a person from like any number of different countries that I'm like actively advocating to destroy. There's nothing inherently wrong with transracial adoption, but there's this whole thing, especially among evangelicals, where they're basically doing white man's burden, where they have to take in the poor black and brown children and make them enlightened. Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Because like, to me, when I see stuff like that, it doesn't automatically mean, unless someone is like straight up a racist person, I'm not going to immediately assume there's like some weird shit going on. Like it's all right, you know. Like I'm not an advocate for like no transracial adoptions or something, whatever. But I have seen a weird amount of people that that have truly fucked up takes about black and brown people who have then turned around and adopted black and brown children. And it is strange. The number she used of 2% is a misrepresentation of the population of slave owners because they're only counting landowning white men rather than the whole household that would take advantage of those slaves, not to mention that one white man could own hundreds of slaves. The fact that no one on that panel pushed back efficiently is fucking disgusting. Yeah, there's that too. What is it? I think it comes down to like 25% of the population, right? Also, it doesn't even fucking matter because they fought. They fought to preserve it. The South in its entirety fought to preserve it. What are we talking about? %32%. That's just a lie. It was 0.3%. Oh, 2% if you include the North, 20 to 25% if you focus on the South. And, you know, damn near 100% of white people still benefited from it in the racial hierarchy that existed in the South. And an overwhelming majority of them fought to preserve this system. And a decent chunk of them still fought to prop up the same racial pecking order in the South in the Reconstruction period that they successfully undermined and destroyed. Like, why the fuck are there so many racialized disparities in this country to this day? Even the abolition of slavery still has an allowance for slavery through the prison system. It's in our laws. Slavery as a mechanism of punishment is still very much constitutionally A-OK. Do you ever stop talking about race or slavery? Yeah, all the fucking time, dumb fuck. It just happens to be that this is the point that they are bringing up. Why does it frustrate you so much that I'm doing pushback to people who are like, yeah, let's just like forget about slavery. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. God damn, dude. People are so gross. I don't see the fucking point, though. Why is this even a topic of discussion? Slavery happened. The black were oppressed and the whites were the oppressors. What is this obsession on the slave owner's skin color? On God, I don't understand. Americans. The focus on it comes from the fact that people want to literally whitewash incredibly damaging aspects of American history because it all goes back to the assumption that black people are in their positions in American society, in contemporary American society, because of their genetic inferiority rather than because of, again, an accurate history, an understanding of the historical events that unfolded and the continued racial dominance that exists in this nation. If you don't learn the lessons of the past, you are doomed to repeat them. And these guys are actively trying to undermine an accurate reflection
President
of history.
Trump says he has instructed his lawyers to scour through America's museums.
It's so funny because nobody ever says, hey, Trump, why are you too focused on how sad the history of slavery makes you feel? Okay? People only fucking turn around and go, why are you calling this racist? Classic. It's not the other person that's being racist that's a problem for you. It's the fact that someone is calling that out accurately for what it is. That's the issue. Okay, so you don't give a shit about racism at all, it seems. You're so woke. Oh my God, shut the fuck up, dude. Jesus Christ. I want people to learn. I want people to know the actual history. That doesn't mean I'm woke or whatever the fuck you think woke is. I hate this shit, okay? Yeah, I'm woke, dude. I love woke, okay? I'm woke as fuck. It's so stupid. People genuinely do not realize that they are advocating for their own demise when they do shit like this. They don't realize that they're like advocating to learn the wrong thing. And then one day, when the dust is settled, they turn around and be like, how do we get here? How do we fucking get here? I don't know, man. For the last 30 years, you've been actively undermining education in this country by claiming it's woke. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of how we got here. Wow, knowing history. Pff, how boring. How woke. That's literally how these guys started this conversation, by the way. By just saying, this is woke, this is CRT, this is making white people feel bad. And now they're implementing censorship. Call it for what it is. This is cancel culture, actual cancel culture. This is actual censorship. This is an actual First Amendment violation. Republicans have always been the champions of cancel culture, champions of anti-free speech, while simultaneously constantly fucking chirping about how much the left actually wants to cancel and the left wants to censor people. Cancel culture and First Amendment violations, rather, happen at the point of the government intervention, okay? That's what the Republicans have been doing every time they demand book banning, every time they demand censorship over educational materials. That's what they're doing. That's what actual First Amendment violations is. But ask the average American in this country right now, they literally all will tell you collectively, nah, it's the left. It's the left. They're the biggest pussies around. They're the ones who want to cancel shit because that marketing has been so clever. It's been so insidious. It's crazy. It's crazy that people just like don't reflect on these events with accuracy.
Rid them of exhibits he considers woke, specifically citing exhibits on slavery. President Trump targeted the Smithsonian museums, saying they are, quote, out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Back in March, the president signed an executive order directing the Smithsonian Institution, which runs more than 20 museums in Washington and elsewhere, to, quote, celebrate American exceptionalism and remove divisive or partisan narratives. Last month, the Smithsonian removed references to Trump in an exhibit on presidential impeachments in the Museum of American History. Mentions of Trump's impeachments were later restored, although with changes. It's not clear whether President Trump actually has the authority to tell any museum, including the museums of the Smithsonian Institution, what to put on display. The American Alliance of Museums, which represents museums across the country, says that no president has the power to impose the kind of review that Trump says he is now ordering. The organization has warned that the president's actions represent a, quote, growing threat of censorship against museums in America. Mary?
Yeah, lots of questions about where this goes from here. John, thanks.
I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Last week on this show, a guest shocked the table by arguing in part that slavery in America can't just be blamed on one race.
Dude, I hate this argument also, like always and forever. The argument is like, well, it hurts people's feelings to learn about the history. It's like, why? It only hurts your feelings if you want to defend it. Okay? That's it. Like, it's so stupid. What do you mean it hurts your feelings to learn about white people's participation in the maintenance of slavery? Like, you didn't do it. The only reason why it pisses you off is because you kind of want to defend it, and that's what it is. Also, fuck your feelings. What do you mean? It's just like an evil thing that took place. We have to learn about it. Like, what do you? Well, it's so dumb. It increases hate for the country. No. You know what increases hate for the country? When dumb fucks say learning about slavery accurately hurts my feelings. That's what increases hate for the country. What do you mean? Let's just make shit up then, because it'll make everybody feel better. Yeah, when you oppose genocide in loud and angry ways, what I hear is an attack on me personally, someone whose support for genocide is deeply connected to my identity. If your liberal is acting out, they might just be bored. Show them this tweet and it can keep them occupied for up to 2 years. Like, I don't understand it. I'm Turkish, okay? The Armenian genocide happened. I think it's fucking insane to not acknowledge it. And the Turkish government certainly does not. Right? It's like, I don't understand how people hold on to this gripe to deny historical atrocities. Like, why would it be something that you are still, like, the only way that it's still connected to you now is if you refuse to reckon with it. if you refuse to understand it, there is no way you're not understanding this. The only people these things identify with is their country because they have nothing else. They're sad they didn't get to do it. No, I mean, I understand what the motivations are. Okay. I understand what the motivations are for why they want to shelter people from the fucking truth. I'm just saying it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. The only reason why you oppose an accurate reflection of history is because you kind of either like the events that unfolded or you're still trying to, at the very least, like, continue to defend it, and you take advantage of the lack of knowledge.
And that museums put too much focus on the role of white people who participated in that terrible institution. And now tonight, that same argument is being pushed by the President of the United States. Donald Trump says that one of the reasons for his crackdown on Smithsonian museums is, quote, everything discussed is how bad slavery was. What we try to do on this program is create a platform for discussion and debate. It's
also so funny because, like, Republicans will always be like, oh, well, you know who defeated slavery? The Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Okay, but right now in 2025, you're the motherfucker defending Confederate statues. Your friends who are wearing the stars and bars are going out to vote for Republicans. What am I supposed to do with this information? Like, what do you mean? So why are you defending it then? Okay, defend the Republicans, historic Republican Party. It makes no sense. Like, that is an active denial of the reality that you can see. Who represents the interests of the Confederate South right now? Okay, a modernized version of the same racial pecking order. Republicans do. That's it. That's it. What do you mean? You're the one who's defending the Confederate statues. You're doing that because it's a reinforcement of the racial pecking order. The reason why those statues were fucking planted outside of courthouses was to remind black people how things used to be and how things still are. Yeah. It's a very stupid meme, but it's true. It's like, you know, it was the Democrats who fought for slavery.
That reflects the very real differences that exist in this country. It's what echo chambers in our society fail to do, frankly. But on this topic, it's important to say objectively, slavery was indeed bad. It was evil, the nation's original sin. And it is impossible to understand the true history of this country without fully grappling with slavery's impact. Simply because of their birthplace and the color of their skin, the bodies and spirits of black men, women, and children were exploited for profit and power. They were forced onto ships, bound by shackles and collars that ripped off their skin. One older man described it as iron entering our souls. Some chose to jump into the waters infested with sharks rather than feel that iron. Now, once they arrived on this very soil, they were forced to work by way of the whip, despite being starved, sleep-deprived, threatened, tortured, physically and psychologically. They were auctioned off, humiliated, fearful, and separated from their families and their children. Black women and girls were raped and sexually assaulted. Many were brutally murdered and mutilated. Now, this endured for decades, centuries. And even in the places where slavery was not legal, institutions from our banks to universities were built on enslaved labor.
Abby, this is hurting my feelings. Why are you talking about this? It's hurting my feelings. Oh, man. Oh, I hate hearing about this. It's like, dude, that's what you sound like. Like, if you're the type of dude who's like, nah, this hurts my feelings, I would rather not learn about this. This is fucking insane. What do you mean? It's like incredibly important part of American history. Of course people are going to fucking talk about it. Why the fuck do you think the Civil War was fought? Like, what? It's so stupid. I can't believe it, dude. We're at that stage now. It's like talking about modern German history without mentioning the Holocaust. The fuck? Yeah, it made me snort. It's so dumb. My feelings.
The North and in the South. And for many of the white Americans who did not personally own slaves, they benefited from a caste system that concentrated wealth and political power in their hands. So, when we acknowledge the existence of black people who operated George Washington's Mount Vernon or the black hands that built the White House, we are acknowledging the existence, the perseverance, and the contributions of the souls that white supremacy sought to erase. Those people built families, they developed a culture, they were the keepers of the faith, cultivators of community. And they are the ones who deserve credit.
This also is important to understand, like, black identity. The reason why you can point to a black culture, but you can't really point to a white culture outside of what it's not, which is its proximity, its distance rather to blackness, is for this reason. Because black culture, African American culture, was designed, was created, born out of this chattel slavery system that engaged in the cultural erasure of Africans that were forcibly sent here as cattle. That's why there is a thing that you can point to as black culture, because it's born out of the collective identity of people who were enslaved and had their culture, their language, their ethnicities removed. In America, white people can point to being Polish, being Greek, being German. Some of these were not considered white initially as well, but have obviously gotten under the, being Hispanic, under the umbrella of whiteness now. Okay? You can trace your lineage back to whichever ship your great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother took. It's so crazy that any sort of discourse around this is met with so much animosity because it makes people feel bad. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? It's ridiculous. And then you have to constantly find yourself in a defensive posture against people's feelings. Like, I can't. Like, what am I supposed to do? That's your problem. It's a thing that happened, and it's important to analyze the thing that happened, especially when you are reflecting on contemporary black existence. This is a very important thing that happened that still plays a formative role.
For forcing America to rid itself of the stain of slavery. Now, all of this information, these stories are from the Smithsonian's African American History Museum. And I share this not as a lecture for you, but as a lesson. America, the superpower, is largely possible only because of the superpowers of people who went lifetimes without the same rights of generations who were boosted from their backs. True history should include everything. Yes, the evils and the horrors too. And museums are supposed to be places that protect those stories, the images, the lessons, the very things that inform so much of our current state of our republic, from racism to poverty. No matter how painful, or in the president's words, how horrible the lesson. Now, just listen to one formerly enslaved man describe what slavery is like in his own words.
You know what I'd rather do? If I thought that I'd ever be a slave again, I'd take a gun and just end it all right away. Because you're nothing but a dog. You're not a thing but a dog.
We are here in the studio with our panel, Leah Wright-Rigueur. I was actually surprised to see President Trump basically saying the quiet part out loud, that this review of the Smithsonian is not about even just something vague about reviewing history to make sure that it's fair. He wants to make it so that it talks less about slavery. What does that say to you?
Well, I think it's an effort. It's part of a larger effort to both sanewash and whitewash American history, and essentially erase all of the parts and disappear all of the parts that make Americans, that make President Trump uncomfortable, that feel distasteful, that are a reflection of.
I don't know how Abby Phillip will do it, but if I hear that motherfucker Scott Jennings say some fuck shit here, I might have to tune out. He just so, oh my God.
Terry, my first thought was, wait a second. I wonder if the president has actually ever visited any of the Smithsonian museums. And then I remembered that in 2017, he actually took a tour of the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Let me just play actually what he said during that tour. Listen to this.
I had the privilege of visiting the National Museum of African American History and Culture right here in Washington, D.C. It's a new, beautiful Smithsonian museum that serves as a shining example of African Americans' incredible contributions to our culture, our society, and our history. It also tells of the great struggle for freedom and equality that prevailed against this.
You don't understand, he was woke back then. He was also, because that was the meta.
Sins of slavery and the injustice of discrimination. The work and love of the people who helped create such a masterpiece is a testament to the legacy of so many leaders it honors.
So was it that he didn't believe what he read from the teleprompter as he recorded that video, or what?
You know, I'm really struggling to understand in a lot of ways, particularly.
Question, Hasan, and this isn't coming from someone who supports monuments to slavers, but would you consider taking those statues down as an erasure of history? No. A monument is a testament. A monument, specifically ones that were dedicated to slavers, are created to remind people the racial pecking order. That's the reason why those statues weren't even actually fucking propped up in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War. They were propped up during periods of racial unrest, specifically during the civil rights struggle. You're not going to fucking forget about Robert E. Lee if your school is not named Robert E. Lee. You're supposed to learn about him in the books, in your school.
Given that the tour that he took with director Lonnie Bunch was actually a reflection of really the mastery that and really the care.
You do it to glorify the actions that took place. And for the Daughters of the Confederacy, which is where this like whole monument subject even started, and also the reason why you learn about like in southern states, you learn about the Civil War as a battle for states' rights to own slaves, but not that second part. They don't say the second part out loud. Is because of the deliberate attempt by the Daughters of the Confederacy to like undermine the historic truth of the Confederacy. And they started off immediately after.
Patience that historians, that scholars, that curators put into the Museum of African American History and Culture. It is not just about the horrors of slavery, although it tells that very important story. It actually follows this really brilliant model where you move through the museum and it tells the story not just of enslaved Americans in America, but also of the resilience, of the triumph. And in doing so, it tells a story that is very much about democracy and about a quest for democracy and the way that Americans both built this country, but also the story and the narrative of like a truly American experience. And so for the president, I think, to just simply erase that and push that away tells it, particularly after praising it a few years ago, tells us that this is part of a much larger agenda. This is part of a much larger agenda to erase things that really, I think the country is just refuses to deal with and is really uncomfortable with.
He said as much by ending this post with, "This country cannot be woke because woke is broke." He says, "We have to have the hottest country in the world, and we want people to talk about it, including our museums." Why is he equating talking?
Okay, he's gotten dumber. Like, he really has visibly deteriorated. Even his statements now are stupider than they were before, and they were very fucking stupid even back then.
About slavery with woke.
Well, look, I think, let me just start this conversation by saying that my personal view is slavery was a reprehensible institution. I agree with your words that it was our original sin. We also fought a war to eradicate it and to get over it as a country. And that was a necessary thing that happened, and a lot of people died, and we did eradicate it, and that's a good thing. I think what he's asking is, in our museums, what defines us? Are we going to be defined by the worst moment or the worst institution or the worst mistake we ever made? Or are we going to be defined by what we've done moving forward to get over it and to become the greatest nation on the earth? My belief is that he wants...
First of all, we can't even fucking, what do you mean get over it? He's like, it's the original sin, but we got to get over it. It's crazy. He's trying to sane wash what Trump is trying to say, which is so stupid, because he just basically ends up regurgitating the position of the museum to begin with, which is an accurate reflection of events and the tremendous struggle that Black people faced, and the resilience. That's like what he's describing is what the museum is currently doing. So what needs to be changed?